The Indiana Fever versus the Las Vegas Aces wasn't just another playoff series. It felt like a crime scene playing out live on national television. Indiana stunned the world by stealing Game 1 in Vegas, throwing the defending champions into shock. But after that opening act, everything shifted. The Aces didn't claw their way back with pure talent, smart adjustments, or the kind of grit fans expect from champions. No, what unfolded was something far darker. They had the referees in their corner, armed with whistles so biased, so blatantly tilted, that it barely resembled competition anymore, and Stephanie White wasn't about to stay quiet. The head coach of the Fever, who had fought through battles as both a player and coach, delivered one of the most emotional post-game interviews of her career. She wasn't just venting. She was demanding nothing less than a league-wide investigation into the state of WNBA officiating. Her words weren't just a cry for fairness. They were an indictment of a league willing to compromise integrity on its biggest stage. Fans inside Gainbridge Fieldhouse saw it. Social media saw it. And the box score confirmed it. The Aces weren't beating Indiana. They were being handed wins, wrapped in whistles and delivered gift-wrapped by officials who acted more like Vegas bodyguards than neutral referees. And that's what makes this story sting so much more. Those phantom whistles didn't just swing momentum. They overshadowed the grit, the resilience, and the pure fight the Fever poured onto the floor every night. Stephanie White's voice cracked with equal parts anger and heartbreak. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. You know, a -31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim, and the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing. That wasn't just a complaint. That was a coach staring down the corruption of her sport and calling it by name. From the opening tip of Game 2, the signs were obvious. Indiana's physical defense, the very identity of their rise, was treated like a crime. Every time they bodied up, every time they fought through screens, the whistle rang. Meanwhile, the Aces? Elbows, shoves, flops, all invisible to the officials. It was like two sets of rules were operating at the same time. The Aces could play football. The Fever couldn't even breathe. Offense is supposed to be about rhythm, timing, spacing. White pointed out that rhythm becomes impossible when there's a foul called every 10 seconds. And she was right. The Fever weren't just playing the champs, they were playing stop-and-go basketball with referees dictating pace. It's hard to build momentum when your opponent is living at the line while you're forced to play with shackles. By Game 3, the bias wasn't subtle anymore. It had become a wall Indiana couldn't climb, no matter how hard they fought. The moment that defined it all came in the third quarter. Aaliyah Boston, the franchise cornerstone, was called for a questionable foul while guarding Jackie Young. White instantly motioned for a review. Bench staff ready, fans on their feet. The officials flat out ignored it. Seconds later, Chelsea Gray buried a three. In that instant, the Fever's hard-earned lead evaporated, not because of Vegas's execution, but because the referees refused to even let justice be reviewed. The Gainbridge crowd erupted in disbelief. Boos cascaded down like thunder. On social media, clips of the sequence went viral within minutes, fans and analysts alike pointing to that one moment as proof of rigging. Analysts replayed the footage frame by frame. Boston's defense was clean. The foul wasn't there. But the review never came, and the shot on the other end flipped the game. It didn't stop there. Fans circulated compilations of missed calls. Asia Wilson shoving defenders in the back without consequence. Aaliyah Boston getting mugged under the basket while play went on. Lexi Hull called for fouls when she barely made contact. The double standard was undeniable. It stopped looking like human error and started feeling like an agenda. And yet, through all of this, the Fever never folded. That's what makes their story so compelling. Any other team would have broken under the weight of injustice, but Indiana found its symbol of defiance in Lexi Hull. Coming off a painful back injury, Hull was supposed to be limited, a placeholder soaking minutes. Instead, she delivered the performance of her career. 16 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 blocks, a steal, and 3 massive threes that kept Indiana alive every time Vegas tried to pull away. Her effort was more than just numbers. It was heart. Fans saw her grimace through pain, dive on loose balls, box out players who outweighed her, and still rise up to bury shots with ice in her veins. Every play she made felt like a middle finger to the officiating trying to bleed Indiana dry. Gainbridge roared with every rebound, every hustle play, every shot. Hull's courage turned into fuel for the Fever, a living embodiment of their refusal to quit. And yet, even as Hull was writing her own heroic chapter, the spotlight wasn't on her. It was stolen by controversy, by the refs who tilted the balance yet again. That's the perfect metaphor for the Fever. Underdogs underestimated, shoved aside, but still standing tall no matter how much the deck is stacked. Meanwhile, A'ja Wilson, the reigning MVP, the face of the Aces, put on one of the worst performances of her career. After opening with a confident 3, she proceeded to miss 11 shots in a row, finishing just 6 for 20 from the floor with 13 points. That's not MVP basketball. That's inefficiency at a level that should have buried Vegas. And it would have, if not for the whistles. Aliyah Boston was brilliant defensively, walling off the paint, forcing Wilson into contested jumpers, rattling her with sheer presence. But instead of crediting Boston, the media bent over backwards to protect Wilson. Articles praised her all-around impact, pointing to rebounds and blocks, ignoring the fact she shot 30% on 20 attempts. Becky Hammon even had the audacity to complain Wilson only shot 1 free throw in 38 minutes. This while Vegas lived at the line the entire series. The irony was insulting. That's why Stephanie White's postgame explosion mattered so much. She wasn't just frustrated. She was saying what every fan, every player, and every analyst has been screaming all year. The officiating isn't just inconsistent, it's compromising the integrity of the league. Her team was robbed. Not by bad luck, not by talent, but by referees who refused to call the game fairly. And here's where the issue stretches beyond one series. The WNBA is in the middle of its biggest growth spurt ever. Caitlin Clark has brought millions of new fans, sellout arenas, and record-breaking TV ratings. The Fever have become must-watch basketball, dragging the league into the mainstream. But instead of protecting that growth, Commissioner Kathy Engelbert has sat in silence while games are tilted and trust is eroded. Without fairness, none of this lasts. Without integrity, new fans won't stick around. And if the league allows defending champs like the Aces to be shielded by officiating, while rising teams like the Fever are punished, then the WNBA isn't just failing, it's sabotaging itself. That's why White's words hit so hard. They weren't just about her players. They were about the future of the sport. When she called the officiating egregious, she wasn't exaggerating. She was holding up a mirror and forcing the league to confront its dirtiest secret. And now the question becomes, will the WNBA listen? Or will they bury this under PR spin, protecting chosen teams at the expense of everyone else? What Stephanie White, Lexi Hull, Aliyah Boston, and the Indiana Fever have shown is that heart still matters. That resilience still matters. That even when the scales are tilted, fight can't be whistled away. But their story also exposes a dangerous truth. Talent alone doesn't decide games in this league. Officiating does. And until that changes, every WNBA game risks being seen not as competition, but as theater scripted by whistles. The Fever deserve better. The fans deserve better. And the game itself deserves better. What do you think? Did the referees rig this series for the Aces, or was it simply bad officiating? Should the WNBA launch a real investigation, or will they continue to ignore the outcry? Let us know down in the comments below. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out on the stories shaping basketball's future.